Hello, friends. It's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums today with another weekly check-in for the week of March 9th through March 15th. I hope everyone's been doing okay. I know I haven't really been sharing a lot of stuff on my channel. I honestly have just been so busy and I didn't really have a lot of stuff waiting to be posted. So I haven't really had a lot of time to actually film or come up with new things to share. I had the intention of doing all of these different videos for this month, and here we are on the 9th, and I just haven't had the time. I wasn't even going to do a weekly check-in today, but I was like, let me at least try to do that today. So it is, my day is a little discombobulated just because of the time change, which is so... I hate it. I hate when we spring forward. It just throws off my entire week. So let's see. We have a jumper. We have healing. All right. So let's see. What do we need to know as a collective for this week? Oh my goodness. I am just stacking everything all crazy today. All right. So what do we need to know as a collective? So we have the Four of Pentacles reversed. All right, what do we need to do as a collective? We have present, which we're going to pull another one. We'll do this one, but then we also will do an actual card. We have the Seven of Wands reversed. I feel like this card has been following me around everywhere lately. What do we need to release? We have the Five of Cups reversed. A lot of reverse cards this week. I think some stuff is moving into retrograde. We have Venus retrograde, I'm sure. All right. And then what do we need to contemplate? We have the Queen of Coins reversed. So a lot of reverse cards this week. And then we had, a couple jumpers. So let's see what the messages are with these cards today. So what do we need to know as a collective? We have the Four of Pentacles reversed. Now, to me, this is a card that really talks about establishing yourselves, having essentially a firm foundation. Maybe this is a reminder of some of our personal behaviors, ensuring that we are, doing what we need to do in a way that makes sense for what it is that we're trying to build for the long term. So what we need to know with this being reversed is that maybe right now is not the time for us to really feel like we're putting a lot of pressure in these ways. And maybe we feel like we're not quite so steady or quite so established in some of the things that we're doing, maybe some of our habits, some of our behaviors, maybe even in some of the connections that we have around us, like what our physical foundation has for us at the current moment. So I know that Pentacles can also be related to career and finances and, our physical health. So maybe there's some stuff that maybe we just haven't really been paying a lot of attention to at this current moment. And so the Four of Pentacles reverse is kind of saying what we need to know is that maybe not everything is as established as we would like for it to be. So maybe we need to pay a little bit more attention to where is our money going? What's going on with our career? What's going on with our physical living space? What is also happening with our personal behaviors? And, are we ensuring that we're kind of taking care of our physical health at the same time? I feel like reverse cards are kind of a reminder that maybe we need to kind of internalize some of those lessons that come and are associated with a card in and of itself. So I feel like maybe this is kind of saying hey, maybe you need to kind of be aware of where is this energy going? Where is this really coming from? What is going on with this energy? Let's pay attention, especially with this being what we need to know this week is that maybe some stuff is not going to really feel quite so established or quite as firm as we would like for it to be. Maybe we're dealing with illness or something that's kind of reminding us of our physical health, of our behaviors, of the things that we have going on. So I know we have Venus retrograde. We also will be having Mercury retrograde starting. And then we have the eclipses this week, beginning eclipse season essentially. So it's just going to feel like a very destabilizing sort of week in a lot of ways. Maybe we're looking at our foundations. Maybe we're looking at, what kind of life are we actually truly building moving forward? What does that mean for us? So there is a little bit of this like weird energy that's coming up here. And so I feel like maybe what we need to know is that not everything is going to feel very stable. Maybe not everything is going to feel like we have firm footing on it. And so maybe this is time for us to look at our communities. What are we doing to kind of connect with one another? What are we doing to kind of reach out and find others that are also supportive of what it is that we're trying to do and how we're trying to show up in different ways? So I feel like this energy can be a little bit, I don't want to say confusing, but maybe a little bit hard to kind of pinpoint and understand, like, what should I do with this? Like, if I'm not feeling very firm and stable in what's going on in my life, how can I know where to build from and what comes next? So I think a lot of this energy just feels a little bit weird. And it's interesting that all of the cards I pulled today are all reversed. Now, next to what we need to do, we have present. That came out first. And so I added these cards into the little magpie tarot deck that I created. I added a couple of these extra cards that I found in some of the decks because I just thought it would be nice to have something like this. But I haven't actually had them come out during a reading. So the present card to me just really is a reminder of like, are we here? Are we focusing on what's actually happening right now, where we are with what we have going on and who we are at this current moment? Now, I think with this being like what we need to do is that maybe it's kind of saying like, hey, quit worrying about what comes next, what you've done, what you need to do. Maybe it's just hey, just be present, just be where you're at right now. Stop being so focused on, do you have a good foundation? Do you have everything? Like, is everything falling into place the way that you expect it to? Is everything really working out the way that you had intended? The present card to me is just a really beautiful reminder of that sort of energy of just really staying here in the moment, like where we're at, and paying attention to what's going on with that and not being kind of drawn into other things that can easily kind of take our energy and kind of remind us that like, just because we are not where we want to be doesn't mean that we're not making headway towards that goal or that we're not moving in the direction that we're supposed to be in order for us to come to the place where we would like to end up. And I know it's so easy to get caught up in like what other people are doing or kind of seeing that, oh, well, this person's been able to do that, or this person's been able to do that, or I see that this person is where I would like to be. And I think, especially with everything that has been going on in the world, we can be so distracted by what we're seeing other people achieve with the same amount of time that we have without realizing and recognizing that there may be some resources that we haven't been able to tap into. Maybe there is a community that they have access to that we don't. There's so many different elements to success. And sometimes we just see like the external results, and we don't look at, what did it take for that person to have all of that and to be able to reach that goal or to get to where they're at. And so some of us are kind of starting from like way, way behind others, and we just don't realize it because not everyone shares all of the ways in which they are helped in order to reach what they're trying to do or in order for them to be as successful as they would like to be. And I'm only saying all of this because I feel like for me and myself, like a lot of the things that I tend to do a lot of the time is to compare. I see people that, are doing things that may be in a similar vein to what I would like to do or what I'm currently doing. And it's very easy to get kind of distracted and be like, oh, well, they're so lucky that they were able to do this without really understanding like the sacrifices that need to be made in order for someone to achieve those things, or what sort of resources and things that are available to them that maybe I haven't had access to. So we also have the Seven of Wands, because I wanted to pull like an actual tarot card here. So we have the Seven of Wands reverse. Now, I feel like the Seven of Wands is one of these cards that can talk about like challenges, a little bit of conflict, kind of feeling like you're being pushed to the edge by other people's kind of, I want to say like animosity, but maybe like, I feel like in a lot of ways, it's more like a misunderstanding of what you have going on. That's what I was talking about. Like when we see other people that are like successful and kind of achieving certain things, we may not see where like others have kind of pushed them to that brink of they had to really rely on understanding themselves and connecting to themselves. Now, the Seven of Wands is inherently this sort of card that talks about you're having to kind of connect back into yourself and look at, what is it that you want so that you can kind of push through to the next goal. But this also kind of redirects this energy back to the Six of Wands, which is a card of victory and success. And so it's almost saying like, where have you been victorious? Where have you been successful? And so what you need to do is kind of maybe focus on where have you overcome certain things, or what have you actually done with the current energy that is in alignment with what it is that you're trying to do. So it's so easy for us to kind of fall into comparison and see other people doing things. And you're like, well, I wish I was there. And I've been trying really hard and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not seeing that kind of success, or I'm not seeing this or whatever. As someone that, I guess in a lot of ways, I've been a public figure for a long time, even though I have really tried to do it on my own terms. I can tell you, I've had a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, you should be, doing this and this and this and this. And I don't. I'm very much a Taurus in that way, where I'm like, I'm going to do this on my own terms. I'm going to do this in my own way. I don't want to be treated differently for the perception of what people may see in a public persona or space versus who I am as an individual. So I feel like the Seven of Wands this week is, especially reversed, it's almost saying like, who are you really? Where have you actually been victorious and successful that maybe you've forgotten because you're so focused on what comes next and what more do you have left and what else can you do? And I know it's so easy to get caught up in the, I got to keep going and I got to keep doing this and I want to be here. Like, when will it feel like it's enough for you to take a step back and just be like, wow, this is really amazing. I'm so proud of like the work that I've done. Like I had a really crazy week, but it was also really nice to kind of take some time out yesterday and just be really grateful and thankful for the opportunity to do what I'm doing, while also having the support at home to be able to go out and do the things that I want to do. So with the present card, I think it's almost saying like, okay, yeah, it's not about how you're being pushed and what comes next and what you need to do and strategizing and being so caught up in like, I want to do this and this and this and this. Maybe it's a reminder to say, okay, what have I done? And am I enjoying the hard work of everything that I was like, like praying to have at one point in time? Am I in it? Am I grateful for these moments? So that is something that I really wanted to focus on this week, was just having those moments of gratitude of like, wow, I'm so lucky that I was able to start something new. It has really been extremely successful for me. And I have the things that I was praying for at one point in time, and it's because of my hard work and my dedication. So I've been trying to kind of honor those things. And I think sometimes we forget that, to kind of say, you know what, we got to celebrate ourselves too. Like, even if it feels like your life is still a mess, because I will be the first one to admit, my life is not always like as great as I would want for it to be. And that's okay. It just gives me something to work towards. But I'm also honoring everything that I've done so far and where I've been at, and just trying to celebrate those things at this current time. So again, maybe this week is more of just like that introspection, kind of looking at what we've done, what we've accomplished, understanding that we are building something that is a little bit more long-term, but then also not forgetting to be in the present and understand that where we're at is what we may need at the current moment. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it may be what we need at the moment so that we can kind of build upon moving forward. So moving on to what we need to release, we have the Five of Cups reversed. Now, this is a card that really just talks about emotional losses. It talks about, kind of not so much like the discontent that I feel that comes with the Four of Cups. I feel like this is more of just like the realization that there's some things that are no longer for us, because fives bring change, they bring challenges, they bring obstacles. They also bring essentially a reminder of what needs to be released in order for us to kind of move on to the next thing. Now we are in Pisces season. I don't know about you guys, but I've been like having all the feels and all the emotions, and it is what it is. We're here, we're in it. And so it's been a very interesting thing because I feel a lot of this has been very introspective as well. And I think with the Five of Cups reverse, we're kind of being reminded of like, okay, there's some stuff that we've been hanging on to that maybe we're so focused on, oh, well, I don't have this, or this didn't work out, or, this has been really challenging, or I'll never get to where I would like to because of X, Y, and Z. And so maybe we're too focused on the quote unquote barriers that we perceive are in the way of what it is that we're trying to do versus trying to look at, what is maybe being offered to us in lieu of the things that are maybe being removed. Because typically, as you can see on this card, there's like the two broken cups, or the three kind of like, there's the empty coffee cup, there's the crushed soda can, there's like this broken glass bottle, and then there's two cups still being like offered. There's a glass that's full, there's a teacup. So it's almost saying like, okay, we're so focused on maybe like what we don't have that we're not seeing what is being offered. Maybe there's something here that's saying, hey, what is the choice? What is something that we need to choose for ourselves? And what we need to release is maybe understanding that being in a sense a little bit too disconnected or unhappy or too focused on, well, this didn't work out, and so I don't like that, or this isn't really how I thought it was going to be. That we're not really allowing ourselves to kind of see other solutions or something that is coming here into our lives because of the things that we're hanging on to. So I feel like with the Five of Cups reverse, especially with this being like what we need to release, is maybe this like hesitation of letting go of what we currently have and releasing something that maybe we know for a fact is not making us happy or not really fulfilling us emotionally in some way, shape, or form. Or maybe even our intuition is kind of saying like, hey girl, get it together. In order for us to really move into the next thing and to really see the changes that we're trying to kind of have here. So I feel like fives, because they do, bring changes and challenges, but this being reversed is, I feel like it's more of like the internal struggles of what we're not really ready to kind of let go of, or what we're refusing to kind of release in order for us to receive the next thing. So I feel like with the Five of Cups reversed, it's almost a reminder of saying like, where are you hesitating to kind of let stuff go? And sometimes it can feel very ruthless in some ways if you're someone that maybe tends to struggle with making space and releasing certain things. I know for me, like there's a lot of emotional clutter that I've been looking at in my own life that I'm like, I need to let this go. I need to stop harboring this emotional volatility, so to speak, within myself because I'm afraid it's going to like spill out onto others. When in actuality, it's like we're not meant to just kind of bottle up our emotions. We got to kind of let that shit go. And we have to kind of release everything that we've been hanging on to that is maybe no longer beneficial for us. So I think that this release card for this week is really saying, okay, there are some emotional things we need to learn to let go of. There's some stuff that maybe we've been hanging on to that don't really make sense for what it is that we're trying to kind of achieve and work towards. And so maybe that's why we're kind of feeling a lot of this like dragging our feet, so to speak. This week, it may feel like things are just not really making momentum. They're not making progress forward. And so I feel like the Five of Cups reversed is kind of saying like, all right, we got to kind of look at ourselves and see why we're hanging on to certain things and why we haven't been ready to kind of let go of certain things. Now for what we need to contemplate, we're going to cover her boobie up today. is the Queen of Coins. So this is reversed as well. When I think of the Queen of Coins or the Queen of Pentacles, I think of her as someone who really understands herself in the sense of she has nurtured herself. She has made her home in her life. And this being reversed, I feel like a lot of us are feeling a little bit at odds with maybe the lives that we've been creating, maybe the lives that we're living. Maybe there is like this sense of we're having to kind of look at what do we consider ours? What do we consider our home? What do we consider our space? What does that mean for us in so many different ways? And so maybe for a lot of us at this current time, we're struggling a little bit with how that will look like for us moving forward. I don't know about you guys, but 2025 has been strange in so many different ways for me. And I know that at this point in time, I've been feeling a little bit out of sync with like my living space in a lot of ways. It's funny because even yesterday I was like, I need to like rearrange this area. And this is like where like my office space is also like where like our entry is and things like that. So I was like, I need to like redo this because it's like a very multi-purpose room. It is my reading space for readings. It is my home office for like, just office things that are needed to be done. It's also our entry area. It's also like where a lot of people come and like, when they come into my home, we just like sit and chat. It's like, I don't know, it's very interesting. It's a very multifunctional, multi-purpose space. And it's also a space for a lot of storage for my other business. So right now it just looks very chaotic and cluttered and crazy. And I've not been feeling very much in like my Queen of Pentacles vibe of like feeling very at home. So like yesterday I was like, I need to rearrange and I need to kind of like do some stuff. So I feel like this Queen of Pentacles for what we need to contemplate is that maybe it's asking us to take some time out to think about our current space. Like, what is it that we have within ourselves? What sort of behaviors are we taking on? What sort of things are we making our routine? Are we nurturing and planting the things that we need for ourselves moving forward? Or are there certain things that maybe we need to learn to let go of, that maybe we need to kind of address in our current life? And what is it that maybe we've been hanging on to that maybe no longer makes sense? So there may be a solution that we're just not seeing because we have been doing things a certain way, or we're so used to things being like, how we have been doing it, if that makes sense. So it's a very interesting kind of vibe that I'm getting from this Queen of Pentacles card here. For what we need to contemplate, especially with it being reversed, is that maybe it's kind of saying like, hey, how are we taking care of ourselves? Are we nurturing ourselves? Are we, doing the things that we know we should be doing for ourselves? Are we paying attention to what's going on overall with ourselves? And the other thing with this is that I feel like it's almost saying like we need to kind of touch back on the lessons of the Knight of Pentacles. Like, are we being strategic? Are we being logical and methodical as far as like what it is that we're willing to kind of go after and fight for? So maybe this week we'll feel like we need to kind of rethink what it is that we're doing and where we're headed. Like, where is all of this leading us, if that makes sense? I think a lot of us get very caught in just going through the motions and like kind of autopilot. But I think maybe it's kind of saying like we need to kind of reconsider. We need to reconsider how we really feel about what's going on with us, what we have, been taking on, and what it is that we really need to pay attention to at this current time. And I think maybe that's why it's almost saying like we got to be present. We got to like look at, what are we presently doing to get us towards what it is that we really desire. Now, I did have this little jumper. This is not a tarot card, but it is in my little like magpie tarot deck. But it's a healing card. And so I think that this is maybe reminding us that we need to take some time out to reconnect, whether that's with ourselves, with our lives, with our spaces, with our physical bodies. I've been getting like this call to like really be in like a protect your energy sort of vibe, like, trying to like up some of my protection, like my wards, my, you know, my own kind of like protecting my own energy from like not just kind of doom scrolling. I'm getting so caught up in all of the craziness that's going on in the world and trying to kind of bring some peace back into my space. Because when I think of healing, I think it's very much about realigning with a peaceful sense of who you are. It is not to be impenetrable or impermeable to like the energies from everyone else, but it is to me in a lot of ways about that alchemization, that transmutation of all of the energies that come your way, that you're able to, you know, shift them into something that is digestible for your own personal energy in a way that feels more in alignment with who you are and what you want. So I think healing is going to be, and it is Pisces season. Blah, blah, blah. It is Pisces season. So I feel like this is a high time for us to focus on taking care of ourselves, of healing, of, you know, doing things that feel like they are healing activities, especially after the energies of winter and the astrological year ending. And as we move into eclipse season, you know, and this is going to be on the Pisces Virgo axis. So the nodes are kind of saying, okay, we have to do some of this physical healing so that spiritually we can really rise up to who we're supposed to be. And so I think that healing is going to be a big focus as far as like what we need to do within ourselves, whether that's like reminding other people that they also need to take time out to heal, or even just looking at ourselves and saying, I need to heal at this time. So I really hope that this week allows you to take some time out to connect to yourself, that allows you to reestablish what you want, what you need. Maybe like physically, you need to take some time out to kind of look at where you've been focusing your energy, being a little bit more present, really allowing yourself to kind of digest some of the emotional things that are coming up, as well as like reestablishing what brings you joy, what brings you warmth, what makes you happy in so many different ways, and taking some time out to just heal. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me. I know this was a little bit longer, but I want to say that I deeply appreciate those of you who watch. I hope you guys have a wonderful week and take it easy out there. Have a good one. Bye. Oh yeah, make good choices, right? Bye.